and welcome to Kingdom Kickoff, as always, powered by Starcade Media. Clint Schweitzer alongside Noah Groniger setting the scene today, Noah, for what is to be an epic AFC showdown here at Arrowhead Stadium. So we thank you any way you are choosing to take in the show today, whether you're at the friendly, picturesque October confines of Arrowhead or from the comfort of your own homes. We thank you for welcoming us in here from Starcade Media and Kingdom Kickoff as we get you set for today's game. It's been one that we've circled since the schedule came out. Chiefs and Bills, 3:25 p.m. Tony Romo, Jim Nance. This has all the makings of a big fight feel today at Arrowhead Stadium, Noah.
It absolutely does, and this is just a gigantic matchup. Kind of early on in the season, now we've got 17 games, so we can't really get to halfway. But man, I mean, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis coming in here. We all remember what Gabe Davis did to the Chiefs in that divisional round playoff game. He went off, and man, we're going to be down Rashad Fenton, down Trent McDuffie. And so it's L'Jarius Sneed, it's Joshua Williams, and it is Jalen Watson. Are they going to be up to the task? I think so. I mean, we saw what Joshua Williams did on the last play of the game, came in for Fenton, who was down with some cramps. He's down again this week. And he really clamped up Devontae Adams. Him and Hunter Renfrow ended up running into each other, but Joshua Williams had great coverage. I don't think it's going to be as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be. I'm looking at that Von Miller against our offensive tackle matchup, and that's where this game could swing.
I was going to ask you about that because the Buffalo Bills statistically have statted out so well over the last couple of seasons. Last year, being in the top five offensively and defensively as far as scoring, yards, any way you choose to slice it. And then you go out and you add a Von Miller who comes in. He's got 4 sacks. He's a game wrecker. And, part of me thought that, after his run last year with the Rams and coming off those successful seasons in Denver, that maybe we wouldn't see the same Von Miller, that maybe his skills had diminished a little bit. He's come into Buffalo and really provided that spark on their defense to become a complete game wrecker. I mentioned the 4 sacks, but on every single play, he's going to be testing the offensive tackles of the Kansas City Chiefs, which have not played well for a large portion of this season, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, Von Miller had a lot of injuries late in his time with the Broncos there. He got healthy with the Rams, and he was dominant. Of course, he had Aaron Donald taking a lot of attention on that line, and now he's with Buffalo, and they've got a great defense, good linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, another guy on the other defensive end that we're going to have to watch out for. It's not just Von Miller. It's Greg Rousseau out of the University of Miami, his second year in Buffalo. We saw what he did last year. Here in Kansas City when the Bills won 38-20, Mahomes tried a little flare pass out to the flats. Rousseau tipped it up and intercepted it, and that was kind of a big swing in that game as the Chiefs were trying to make a comeback. But, man, this defense is loaded. They're without Micah Hyde at safety. They still have Jordan Poyer there at safety. It looks like he's going to give it a go today. They're young in the secondary with Teron Johnson, Dane Jackson, Kaiir Elam, who's a rookie. But, man, they're talented, and they, just like the Chiefs, have got some young guys in the secondary. The Bills do too, and they feel good about their guys. But Von Miller, he's really coming alive in Buffalo. If T.J. Watt didn't get injured, maybe you could consider him Defensive Player of the Year. But with him going down with his injury, Nick Bosa has been injured. I think Von Miller's up for Defensive Player of the Year. Maybe with Max Crosby too. We just saw him with the Raiders. He's got 6 sacks. He's getting pressure all over the place. But Von Miller presents a new difficult option. We've talked about Orlando Brown struggling with the speed rush. If you struggle with that, you got to watch out for Von Miller. If Chandler Jones is getting after you, you're going to have a long day with Von Miller if you don't pick things up.
And yet it seems like it's in these type of situations where the Chiefs' offensive line rises to the occasion. We think a couple weeks back going to Sunday Night Football at Tampa Bay with that front four. So this could be one of those situations where the Chiefs have schemed around this. You saw what happened in the divisional playoff game last year where the Bills came in riding a wave of momentum, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And this year, I think they're holding people to around 12, 13 points a game.
Yeah.
So this seems like one of those times at Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs offense really comes to play. We'll see how it plays out today because the Chiefs are underdogs in this game coming in here. And that's unprecedented in the Patrick Mahomes era. So that's where the NFL, and to me, this is one of those situations where I've had this feeling since the schedule was announced that it feels like one of those times where it's time to pay the piper on these. I've said it for years when it came to the Baltimore Ravens that the Chiefs were beating the Ravens and kept knocking that team down a pedal, down the pedestal a little bit, Lamar Jackson. And then finally in 2021 last year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbles the game away when you're just trying to run the clock out. This feels like a revenge game for the Bills. They want this so bad. The NFL media, the national media, wants this so bad for the Bills because they want to anoint them as the October Lombardi Trophy winners. I don't know if you still get a trophy for that, if it's made of plastic or paper, but that's where we're at right now. They want to give that Lombardi trophy. And this is, to me, has the classic makings of it's time to pay the fiddler here for the Chiefs.
It does feel like that, but if you look at the game even last year in Arrowhead during the regular season where the Chiefs lost 38-20, there was 3 big turnovers that the Chiefs had, the ball going off Tyreek Hill's hands. We mentioned Greg Rousseau tipping the ball up to himself and picking it off, Byron Pringle fumbling a kickoff return, and then Rashad Fenton got an interception that we thought could turn the tide, stem the tide, turn it back over to turn the momentum over to the Chiefs, but there was a bad roughing the passer call. We know those very well. Against Frank Clark, and they said he landed on Josh Allen with all his body weight, drove him into the ground. It wasn't that, but that gave the ball back to Buffalo with a first down when the Chiefs thought that they had the momentum and could turn things around. And we don't have Daniel Sorensen this year. We saw Dawson Knox, Stephon Diggs getting over Daniel Sorensen, getting past him, and Matthew throwing his arms up in the air. That is no longer here. We've got Juan Thornhill. We've got Justin Reed. Brian Cook is going to be out, so you're going to see Deion Bush back there if they go with a third safety look. And I am wondering what we're going to get out of Joshua Williams, but if going off the one play that we saw him in there against Devontae Adams, he held up well against the best receiver in the league. So maybe there's a fighting chance for the Chiefs and they can get some pressure with a Frank Clark, a Carlos Dunlap, and a George Karlaftis to cause some problems for Josh Allen.
That is the key in this game to me is turnovers. You've got to be +1 or +2 in the turnover category to win this. And maybe we're underselling what the Chiefs are, which has been the gold standard in the AFC since Patrick Mahomes arrived on the scene in 2018. The Buffalo Bills, for all the hype, for all the, hype that's deserved, because this is a really good football team, they still haven't really been there and done it. Yes, they came to Arrowhead and won in the regular season last year, but the Chiefs won that epic playoff game back in January. So Josh Allen has never won an NFL MVP. He's never been to a Super Bowl, never won a Super Bowl. Mahomes has played in 2, won a Super Bowl MVP, won an NFL MVP. So to me, these quarterbacks are still not on the same level as of yet. Josh Allen has every capability of getting there, but to me, this is a game that the Bills have circled. They need this. It's revenge for them to this is, you think about the Cobra Kai series, right? What do they always say? That the All Valley tournament is the battle for the soul of the Valley. To me, this is the battle for the soul of the AFC, because there is no path for the Chiefs to be the 1 seed in the AFC without a win today. And even with that win, it's going to be very difficult to pull that off, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a desperate game if the Chiefs definitely want that 1 seed, because we have the more difficult schedule than the Buffalo Bills. They get to play the Patriots, who just seem even more lost than last year, if that's possible. And of course, Mac Jones being out for them doesn't help. The Dolphins, we all know the issues going there with Teddy Bridgewater going down after Tua had already gone down, and now they're down to Skylar Thompson. They've got a big matchup today, and it doesn't look like they're going to come out of that against the Vikings. It looks like the Vikings will take that because Skylar Thompson's not ready to get them to a win. And then you got the Jets, who are showing some improvement, but they're not really going to pose a threat to the Bills. So the Chiefs definitely need this game, but like you said, Josh Allen's out there. And what I've seen out of George Karlaftis talking about getting after Josh Allen, I mean, we were able to see he kind of gets up the field too much for me too quickly, and that leaves open big holes. And we saw Derek Carr escape for first downs. If you're letting Derek Carr escape and run the ball for some first downs, you do not want to let that happen with Josh Allen. So I don't know if George Karlaftis is ready yet to be getting as many snaps as he is. He's only got a half a sack, which he just got last game. Him and Frank Clark sacking Derek Carr at the same time gave him his half sack. If you watch our Arrowhead Allies show every Tuesday night, Shaggy Shane Williams proclaimed that George Karlaftis was going to have 18 and a half sacks. He's only 18 away now because he's got the half sack. But I don't know if George is ready for the amount of snaps he's getting. I'd like to see Carlos Dunlap in there. Maybe rush a little more, have a more controlled rush against Josh Allen, not getting up the field, closing off the gaps and the holes. For Josh Allen to sneak out and run for big gains, first downs, 20 yards down the field. And Carlos Dunlap's just better in the run game as well to me, kind of controlling the edge and knowing where he's supposed to fit and play. So that's just something I'm looking for. I'll be watching George Karlaftis a lot today to see how he plays against Josh Allen.
I want to talk a little bit about how we got here, how we arrived to the situation where the Chiefs are an underdog at home against the Bills. Because I want to take you back to 2 short years ago where the Chiefs went 14-2, the 1 seed in the AFC. They reached the Super Bowl and had 2 wins over the Bills. You think about going to Buffalo. I think it was a weird Monday afternoon. They had to move the game around. It's COVID year. hate to even think back to those days, but the Chiefs go back on a Monday night, go to Buffalo, and they run the ball down the Bills' throats. They win 26-17. And then in the AFC Championship game, the Bills come back to Kansas City, and the Chiefs run away with it and just absolutely have a party at Arrowhead Stadium. 2 years later, now it's the Bills that everyone has anointed as the next big thing. The Bills have drafted and signed free agents and whatever they've done with their roster to overtake the Chiefs. They're a favorite at Arrowhead Stadium with both teams 4-1. How did we arrive here to this point? We've had teams all over the AFC, specifically in this division, drafting and preparing to overtake the Chiefs for years. No one's lived up to the hype. Think about the rest of this division. Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. They're not ready to do it just yet. Maybe the Chiefs and Bills are the only two teams in the AFC that have lived up to the billing thus far. But how did we get to the point in just two simply short years where the Chiefs are sort of chasing the Bills? It's weird, isn't it?
I mean, it is. I mean, obviously they brought in Stephon Diggs, the emergence of Gabe Davis. I mean, Josh Allen has just continued to grow and become a better, more accurate passer, which makes his legs more lethal. And they've kind of built up that defense. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, although Micah Hyde's not in here. This young secondary, I mean, I named them earlier, and they just keep drafting guys. And I mean, you've got Ed Oliver and Jordan Phillips in the middle. They had a Greg Rousseau going out and getting Von Miller. They just feel like this is the Bills' year. I mean, we saw how close they were, 13 seconds to surpassing them last year. Now they add Von Miller, another year of growth for Josh Allen and Gabe Davis and the secondary coming together. They just feel like this is the year for them. And it's hard to say that it's not, but it's got to be both the year. I mean, the Chiefs lose Tyreek Hill as well. So they're just like, man, the Chiefs have lost one of the most generational, just outstanding talents in the NFL in Tyreek Hill. We're not sure what we're going to get out of this receiving core. They're young on the defense. They lost Javarius Ward. They've got a lot of guys young in the secondary, a lot of rookies. And so they lost Tyrann Mathieu. We're just not sure what we're going to get out of the Chiefs, but this Bills, they just seem to keep climbing the mountain, and adding Von Miller is just another step for them, I think, and for the media to proclaim them as the favorites in the AFC.
Well, we want to talk a little more on the other side, maybe give our predictions. But first, we got to talk about our sponsor, Royal Roofing and Solar. Guys, they are the best. They are local. They'll get the job done no matter how big or small. And you know what? Don't take my word for it. Why don't we take the word of a touchdown scorer from a couple weeks ago, if you remember, Noah Gray, Chiefs tight end, punching it in there a couple weeks ago. And let's take his word for it and just see what he has to say about our good friends, Royal Roofing and Solar.
What's going on, everyone? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm really excited about this upcoming season, but what I'm also excited about is Royal. Royal are your locally owned and trusted roofing and solar experts. Royal Roofing and Solar works with you and cares about you to get you the roof that you need, installation through cleanup. Simply put, they are the homegrown roofing business that cares.
Hi everyone, Austin Watterson, owner of Royal Roofing and Solar here. I was going to tell you a little bit about what we do. We are your local trusted roofing and solar company. We are an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred roofing contractor. We're one of a few companies that can offer lifetime warranties on our products. We are local. Our install teams are local. We don't bring anybody in from out of state to do installs. Our sales team is all local. We help you take ownership of your power. We help you stop inflation of your energy bill. And most of all, we help you find out the truth about solar. Very important to tell you the truth. Some solar is good, some solar is bad. It's not for every home. And it's very important for you to know if it really works for you or not. Go Chiefs.
Servicing Missouri and Kansas. They know how important your home is to you because this is home for them. Royal Roofing and Solar. Call 816-540-7057. That's 816-540-7057.
Well, we're talking about a football game, and our guy, Austin Watterson, is talking about stopping inflation. If he can do that, boy, we'd really have it made. So always give a good shout out to our great sponsors there. And, you know, big Chiefs fans, I'm sure Austin's going to be out there today, rocking and rolling, leading this team to victory, you know, coming off this win against the Las Vegas Raiders. And maybe there was a little bit of looking ahead to this game for the Chiefs. I know that's kind of a cliche in sports, one that I don't like to really explore too often, especially in the NFL, because it's like, my gosh, these guys, you know, we've heard Travis Kelce talk before about week to week, they don't even know who they're playing. But I want to ask you this, Noah. There's something about the Kansas City Chiefs here in the Patrick Mahomes and the Andy Reid era, the way they carry themselves. There's a boredom there. There is an ADHD factor to this Kansas City Chiefs team when it comes to motivation. We've seen it time and again. We saw it against the Indianapolis Colts, and we basically had Travis Kelce tell us a couple years ago that this whole regular season thing, they get bored, get to the playoffs, and let's get us back to the Super Bowl. The only different problem is, Noah, is the Chiefs only have one Super Bowl in the 4 years that Patrick Mahomes has been here. So do you think this team, the psyche of this franchise, since Patrick Mahomes got here, sort of carries itself more like a dynasty when it should just be going out there, focusing on, winning regular season games, getting the 1 seed, and making this more of a day-to-day operation? Or am I way overstepping when it comes to that?
Well, I mean, we heard what Travis Kelce said. That was after Super Bowl 54. He just kind of wanted to move on. Like, come on, let's get through this regular season thing. We want to get to the playoffs. That's when it really counts. We know we're going to be there. Let's just get there. But I think you're talking kind of about the Colts game that was inexplicable, how they showed up sleepy and uninterested.
17-0 to the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened with the Raiders. And even if you go to the Chargers game, I mean, I don't think they were sleepy and not ready for that game. But the Chargers game, they were down 10-0 early. And then the Raiders game, they were down 17-0 early. And that's our 2 home games that we've played. We're down 10-0, 17-0. What's going on? Why aren't we ready? Why aren't we coming out with more of a sense of urgency? Why does it take something to happen? Like the roughing the passer of Chris Jones, and the crowd starts getting into it, and Mahomes gets after the offensive line. Then they start getting things rolling. I don't think you can do that against this Buffalo Bills team.
Right.
The Raiders ended up only scoring 9 points in the second half. I don't think you're going to be able to hold the Bills to 9 points that you can hang on for a 1-point victory in the second half. You're going to have to come out guns a-blazing from the word go. And I don't know if it's lackadaisical. I don't know if they're not focused. This happens to teams. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. We hear that. It's 17 games now. And I just think there's some weeks that for whatever reason, you just don't come out and have your A game. You're on your stuff. And yeah, we'd love to be able to tap into that every single week, but just sometimes you don't have it. And it just takes some time to find the rhythm and be able to execute so that everyone is into the game. And I want to throw it back to you. And how do the Chiefs come out and execute early in this game? And what do they do to execute? What are they going to attack on the Bills defense? Speaking from a Chiefs offensive perspective, is it the run game? Do they come out with the 3 tight end sets? Do we want to put as many receivers on the field to get that young secondary on there and try to exploit them? What do the Chiefs do to move the ball against this Bills defense?
Yeah, I think you brought it up right there. That's a very good point. And you think about Patrick Mahomes' record when falling down by double digits. We uncovered that last week during our Arrowhead Ally show. Patrick Mahomes is 12-9 when falling behind by double digits. That's number 1 in the league by a bullet. I think Tom Brady was second, and his percentages in the 30s.
Yeah.
The thing of it is, when you think back to it, how have the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era fallen behind 21 times by double digits? That's the stat that I think that no one's talking about. How is that even possible? And I think there is a lackadaisical mental aspect of this, and for today's game, you're right. There's no way you don't fall down 17-0. This it's over. If this is 17-0 Buffalo in the first quarter, it's over. You're not coming back from that. So how do you temper that? How do you come out to a fast start? Well, a turnover. You saw it against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Chiefs were able to really take control of that game because of an opening kickoff that was fumbled by the Buccaneers, recovered by the Chiefs. They punch it in, and it's 7-0. And then you got the Bucs on their heels for the entire game. So it's going to take a spark. It's going to take something, a big play in the passing game, a big run. We look back to 2 years ago, and the Chiefs' game plan in the rain at Buffalo was to completely pound the ball. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a tremendous day that day. So maybe this is a day where you establish Clyde, where you establish Jerick McKinnon, who I think Shaggy Shane was talking about on his show and Arrowhead Allies, that he should be getting the nod. He should be getting the bulk of the snaps. And maybe that game plan in and of itself helps open things up for this offense. So whether it be a big play in the passing game, whether it be establishing the running game, the Chiefs need to come out with their hair on fire and have something good happen early. Maybe that's just going down, driving the ball, taking a 7-0 lead, taking the game by the horns. It doesn't have to be something, game altering, but just being the first team to score, going down and getting a stop, 3 and out on defense. It doesn't have to be something complicated. No one, as they say, this isn't rocket science, but this game is huge. It's looming. We've known about it for a long time. So I think there's a lot of things and the combination of things that could happen that could set this up to be a nice day for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'd like to see them get the running game going, but we've talked about it, and I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco just don't have the vision for me on a consistent basis to be able to do it. I think Jerick McKinnon has the vision. He's had problems earlier in his career staying healthy. We haven't really seen that here in Kansas City. He's been healthy. We haven't seen an injury bug come up and get him, although he hasn't had as many touches as he did early in his career. And yeah, I think we're going to need to see, I want to see some more from Sky Moore and McCole Hardman if he's healthy. We know he's had that heel injury that's kind of been lingering. MVS and Juju started to come on in that Raiders game and have a lot of nice catches. So I'd like to see this receiving core keep meshing with Mahomes and keep growing, and I'd like to see more of that. But flipping on the Bills side, we really have to just keep Josh Allen in the pocket is what we have to do, and that's easier said than done. And man, I don't know what we're going to do to stop Gabe Davis. We don't have Mike Hughes out there chasing him around. That's something that's going to help us out. We don't have Daniel Sorensen, who's going to get lost in the secondary. And from the Bills' defensive perspective, I think you double Travis Kelce and say, if you're going to beat us running the football, if you're going to beat us with 3 tight end sets, if you're going to beat us with your receivers, so be it. You're not getting Travis Kelce. Easier said than done, even doubling Travis every single play. I don't think that just needs to be the game plan for the Bills, but every team moving forward, double Travis, see if they can go somewhere else, see if they can beat you somewhere else. I think they can. I think Mahomes is good enough to do that. I think we've got decent enough weapons out there and enough weapons with all the tight ends and receivers and backs out of the backfield to do that. But that's where I start if I'm the Bills, doubling Travis Kelce. But the Chiefs, this is a big one for them, and I think they're going to figure it out. I think Mahomes is going to have to get rid of the ball early and often to some of the backs out of the backfield, to some of the shorter stuff, and I think we can come out with a win.
Yeah, this is why we play. This is why we love NFL football. For Sundays like this in October when the weather's turning, it's a beautiful day in Kansas City. It's going to be an unbelievable scene on national television. You're going to see nothing but blue skies and red with a little bit of blue sprinkled around there. The Bills fans descend on Arrowhead Stadium like it's their second coming of Rich Stadium. They feel the same vibes when they come out here to this parking lot and to these fans. I think that these fan bases are as close as it comes in the NFL, Chiefs fans and Bills fans. Because, when you're in Buffalo, New York, it's way out in upstate New York, away from the city. It's a different vibe. And in Kansas City, this is a city that likes to think that, it's like some smaller version of Chicago or something. But really, this is a blue collar Midwestern town. And there's a kind of cut from the same ilk, these fans. They've both been long suffering. And now both teams are the two, standard bearers here in the AFC. So a lot at stake here. Josh Allen, you mentioned it. He leads the Bills in rushing. He's got 225 yards rushing. Devin Singletary only with 171. So Josh Allen is such a threat. We saw it in the playoffs last year. We know what he is. So to me, that's where it comes down to getting a turnover, getting something big to happen. And that's what happens at Arrowhead Stadium, Noah. There is this thing called Arrowhead Magic where we've seen the Bills time and time again back in the early 90s, 1991. 1993, coming in here and it just being a house of horrors for those great run and shoot teams with Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, and the like. So Arrowhead Stadium still has a mystique to it, and this team really has a chance to rise to the occasion here and put the NFL universe on notice that the Chiefs are the team here still to beat in the AFC. Because like we always talk about, Ric Flair always says it: to be the man, you got to beat the man. Josh Allen has a win over the man, but not when it's mattered the most. This one matters a lot. It's not a playoff game, but it has that feel. So prediction-wise, I'm somebody I talked about in our Arrowhead Allies show, Noah. I'm just this type of person. When it comes to fight or flight in adverse situations, I run away. It's like when I was at the gym earlier last week and I go up to the rack. It's finally open. I have a chance to do it at Planet Fitness. And some guy comes up, points to it like he wants it. I ran away. You have it. You want it. You got it. I'm not putting up a fight. The Bills want this. The NFL wants this for the Bills. They want to anoint them. You got it. 32-25. The Bills right now are the better team, both offensively and defensively. I think the Bills come in and really establish themselves. This is where they win the 1 seed today. The Chiefs, if they're going to have a hope of getting to the Super Bowl here in Glendale, Arizona, it's going to have to go through Buffalo, and it's established today. Bills 32-25.
I've got it kind of the other way around here. I think this Chiefs secondary is up to it. I like what I saw. Again, one play out of Joshua Williams, but he was getting all the buzz in training camp. I think he can come in here and hold his own. Him and Jalen Watson and Jarius Sneed in the secondary. What I'm going to be focused on, I mentioned it. I've mentioned it several times. I'm going to mention it one last time, I promise you, and then I won't. George Karlaftis, the quarterback contain, controlled rush, keep him in the pocket. Don't let him escape for the big first down yards, 20, 30-yard scampers down the field. I think Nick Bolton and Darius Harris can also help in that by whether someone has a quarterback spy or just even if you're out in a route and you're playing some zone, keep one eye on Josh Allen at all times. But I think we can slow them down. There's no more Daniel Sorensen letting Dawson Knox and Stephon Diggs run free. There's no Mike Hughes lost in coverage against Gabe Davis. And I think Mahomes and this offense can do enough. We've got Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the game. We saw what MVS and Juju were doing on offense. I think McKinnon can get something going in the run game. Trey Smith is back. Harrison Butker's back. 33-31. Your Kansas City Chiefs get the victory, baby.
Is that a walk-off field goal to like down one?
It is.
And then
Harrison Butker with a walk-off.
I love that idea. I've missed the butt kicker quite a bit here to think that he, rolled that ankle in week 1 and how here it is, week 6 and we've got him back. And then hopefully, in the next couple of weeks that this team gets a little healthier, you get Trent McDuffie back and,
Willie Gay.
Yeah, you get Willie Gay back after this week, going into the Niners game.
Mike Dana at some point, Blake Bell. There's several guys that we're going to be getting back. And
yeah, this team's got to be 5-2 going into the bye week. That's the key to me is you've got to win one of these next 2. You can't falter here, then let that beat you and you go to another good defense, the Niners, next week on the road. So you got to find a way to win one of these next 2. It doesn't look like today's going to be that day for me. I'm resigned to
our good friend Mitch Morse.
Yes, we're giving it to our good friend, former guest of ours, interview that we did for our Saturday Supremacy documentary. Mitch Morse, former chief, a former second-round pick here, and now he's gone to Buffalo, and the Bills are firing on all cylinders, and I think they get the chips today, so to speak. Trent Green loved that comparison. You're at the grocery store, someone's reaching around you in the chip aisle. They want the chips. The Bills want the chips. They get the chips today. Congratulations for that October Super Bowl championship that the media then tomorrow will heap upon them. And
when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper, Mahomes. Do it.
Shut me up, please, Mahomes. Let's do it, guys. Thanks so much for joining us here on Kingdom Kickoff. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you did, hit that like button on our Starcade Media Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Starcade Media is where it's all at. You can go to our website, starcademedia.com. It's where everything we do is archived, our interviews, our podcasts, our articles, breaking news. It's all there, Starcade Media. Thanks for joining us here this week on another beautiful October Sunday in the NFL. This has been Kingdom Kickoff.